that just isn't true. Of course he's going to be affected by that.
Yeah.
Now, if they can come out here and perform and continue to look good, great.
Like you know, Nico walks by. Is he coming? Is he going to go sit down there? Oh no, he's just going to the lobby.
It's social. It's a social game, you know.
Starting to speculate. They're just watching there, sipping his lemonade in the corner.
Here's the angle though that people forget about ENCE. Is not only did they 3-0, they beat Vitality 2-0, a team that was their kryptonite, that was owning them, that knocked them out of ASL Cologne in last place, which is probably what predicated the move where XCB is getting caught now, where the results weren't good enough. So that's already a big statement game for me. That's number 2 team in the world on the rankings.
And Avantgarde. They're the only team to beat Avantgarde in that last stage as well. So they beat 2 teams out of the 3 possible on their side of the bracket. That looks pretty good for them.
That is a very good point. And this does seem to be an ENCE that come to compete. There was so many unanswered questions, and I think the answers today versus the Renegades will help a lot of people get their head around it. I mean, Alu dropped some insane amount of frags, and it was 16-7, 16-10 versus Vitality. This wasn't even a close series.
What was impressive is the Dust 2 win for me, though, right? Because Dust 2 has been a problem map for ENCE. It's somewhere like their B-bomb site gets exploited, they explode onto it. You saw that in the last major. It was a little bit of a problem. But you watched that game, they were prepared for it. They changed some of their protocols. They Molotov dark and then follow it with a nade, and then they get the smoke down before the Molotov disappears. All these little details, they tweaked and look really good. So their prep and their practice for this must be on point because they've found the problems, they've made them better, and that's the thing with ENCE. We talk about this team as a stable foundation. You know, they have the fundamentals of Counter-Strike down. Well, they're playing to that, and their individuals are playing well, so that's when they're the most scary.
Yeah, just a lot of people acknowledging how good they look, and of course we'll get to see them. That's our first game of the day, will be ENCE versus Renegades. The second, though, and one that I want to talk about, especially now we've referenced their loss, the Frenchman's loss to ENCE, is Vitality. It's a very interesting conversation that I think we'll have to save ourselves for another time. Instead, though, we can just start acknowledging the fact that I just turned around and suddenly there's a crowd. They've arrived again. I mean,
They're quiet in here.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? They've got to kind of warm up into the Mercedes-Benz arena, as do I, as I try and just remind everyone.
This is a massive sports team. It's not like some furniture store or something.
It does seem like somewhat of a library, you know, Fallen Paps arriving. But anyway, let's get this show started.
Title in an incredible fashion. So perfect, so precise! I can't believe it. That was incredible. Can you believe it? Absolutely strong in the triple. He paused for a moment. They scored a goal. That's it. That's all they wanted.
Will be the next.
What a beautiful round here.
Renegades.
The perfect weapon for the job! Oh, gratisfaction! A flurry of frags. He's done his part.
Energy.
And no one is using the bomb yet. He sees one of those flicks. He gets the kill. Now at one. Can he save it? Can he get the double OT? So, you've got to be kidding me. He takes down every single one.
Team Vitality.
Set up there, actually. It should have been working out great, but RPK takes 2 of the Deagle. Mountain now coming for him, but he's going to go down as well. A triple kill.
Avant-Garde.
First, the battle blind kick. What was that? A double kill from nowhere. No rights. And that's your 42%.
First quarterfinal. ENCE versus Renegades.
The ice-cold Finns, untouched, undefeated, exemplary professionalism shown from them so far, and now facing up against the Renegades. Back against the ropes since their first 2 best-of-1s. It was back-to-back-to-back best-of-3s that brought the Aussie mix here. And so far, top 8, and they really are vying, and even converting analysts, believing that they can take this to the big dogs.
The reverse sweep, I don't want to say I told you so, but I have a little bit of pride here today. And normally I'm not biased. Normally I predict against the Renegades, but that's going to change. And
Tell me why.
I just want to throw this out there. It's the only stat I care about.
Sure.
It's the only one that's going to matter, is that Renegades have never lost to ENCE before in a major. Back in 2015 as well, me, Juzzy, Aaron, we beat Alu and Natu and his boys. Natu didn't show up, he had to go to a wedding, but it didn't matter, they lost anyway. And I have so much confidence that the Renegades have emotion that the Finns don't, that matters when you get on a stage like that, that matters to get past this, and they're going to wield that as a weapon against the Finns, and maybe send all these people who came out here to celebrate home a little bit early.
Okay, so not only supporting the boys, but doubting ENCE on that stage.
Cheering against the fans who came in to cheer against them.
There's just lots of Finns here, you know?
Chad did wear a jersey on a previous segment of this tournament.
I didn't see it.
So
Did he
I didn't
really?
see that, yeah.
yeah, a lot of people actually didn't see
happen.
it. So
Yeah, that's why we got Sliggy here, so maybe this time round. But look, I think going into this one here, I'm not delusional. ENCE are obviously the favourites. ENCE are clearly the favourites. I say some stupid things. Most things I say are stupid. But going into this game, they have Renegades covered in the veto, in my opinion. They don't play Vertigo. You have to keep that in mind. That's one of Renegade's strengths to even get to this point. They've been here. They've gone further. They've made it to a grand final. They have the experience. They should have Renegades covered every day of the week.
From a Counter-Strike standpoint, when you've covered the Renegades game, Sean, are you still seeing what often is described as kind of but messy, clear, well thought out Counter-Strike, or have they managed to polish it up coming into the top 8?
they have polished it up a little bit, but their performers aren't really typical when you consider Renegades in the past, right?
Certainly.
JKS hasn't put up the numbers that we expect from him, whereas Liaz, on the other hand, is probably overperforming, if you ask me. So this version of Renegades is much different than the prior ones I've seen. Their map pool is deep, but versus ENCE, I don't know.
Versus ENCE, and actually with them on our screens, it's focus on the Finns. Duncan, I'll give you the Lions task of handling ENCE esports.
Yeah, well, I think the interesting thing is, obviously at the last major, they were supposed to go out in the round of 8. They were not supposed to be a team that could make the final. Now a lot of people tipping them to possibly make that final, especially because remember, if they meet Vitality in the semi-finals, they already won that match at this tournament. So now you actually have to go the other way. They're in some senses a favourite. They have the pressure upon them. The Renegades actually are the guys who are coming back trying to make their first semi-finals. So I think if you look at ENCE, people did jump the gun when they heard the news about LXCB. Like, they already wrote them off. Dead team walking. First of all, anyone who's followed Counter-Strike for a long time knows that can take the pressure off your shoulders. At that point in time, you think, hey, whatever happens, happens. And actually, LXCB has absolutely fragged out in this tournament. Like, if he wanted to put himself in the shop window, he's doing a fabulous job, which makes me even wonder, since they're implying internally, maybe he isn't always the in-game leader, or Ali takes some of the duties, maybe he freed him up a little bit. It's his last tournament.
Yeah, I was afraid he wouldn't show up. He's the 5th highest rated player in that previous Legends stage, while ENCE has looked extremely solid strategically.
Right.
They look like nothing has changed at all. So I'm I mean, sure, the Finnish teams always show very little emotion, but it's actually insane what they've managed to do.
Yeah, and I think, that's got a lot of us beaten, a lot of us that, sometimes attribute the emotion and how that will influence the game. ENCE just kind of shut us up for a second and say, no, look what we can do.
We can play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And that's what they did very well. I think one thing to note from the last time they were at a major was X7 played out of his mind, right?
Sure.
Him during that playoff stage was a monster. I want to see if he can replicate that because he becomes a big stage player if he can, right? He's not somebody they need, but when he can show up in these environments, it's great.
I cut you off before, Sean, but with them on the screens, you can continue saying that not the most likely subjects have showed up so far.
Yeah, so far JKS is like a middle performer for Renegades, but Jacob and Leos, on the other hand, have been putting in work when you watch the Renegades play. They've come up huge. I mean, Leos has had so many important, pivotal clutches, actually, that he dragged them over that phase series, in my opinion.
He's tied with Zipnix for 7 clutches in the tournament thus far, I believe. But
Jeez.
So
the boy who clutched.
It's not a bad stat line to have right there, but that's what he was known for in Australia. He was, when JKS was over in the US, Leaz was the next JKS. Now, I think Justin's role has changed. You see him doing more double AWPing. He's more aggressive in certain situations. He used to be the most passive player back in the day. So you can see how these individuals are all shifting here. But I need more impact from Gratisfaction. Him on the AWP, he doesn't look like they build around him. It doesn't look like they set him up, but he needs to know that the positions he's in, we need to see 2 from him. He can't just be getting away with 1. And another condition for Renegades in this series right here is the force buys. They force buy regardless. CTT side, it doesn't matter. But their conversion rate in this tournament is so bad. It's 9.1%.
Of force buys?
That's not great for them at all. Whereas,
Sub 10?
Yeah, ENCE on the other side of things, they will force buy on the T side. On the CT side, they normally respect their opponent, take that full eco, get the 3rd gun round in. But versus Renegades, I've seen versus some of their games in the past, they don't respect them. They'll go for the force buy on the CT side. They'll take it to them because they think they're better.
One angle, actually, that I do think is a potential mismatch in this one is, though, when you talk about like that cool, steely nature of the Finns, one of the things that impressed everyone when they burst out the gate is they weren't getting rattled in these big games against Team Liquid and Astras. They held their nerve. Problem is, the Renegades on the other side, they have lost a lot of 14, 16 games, 13, 16 games. If you get to that point of the game, that's where I feel as though, just in terms of psychological factors, you give a little bit of the edge to ENCE.
The most incredible thing from the last major, in my opinion, was X7 winning that one-on-one against Simple, and he looked like a stone-cold killer.
Yeah,
literally no reaction at all.
Fun info, we actually got the veto happening live. The players are doing it on the stage as we speak, so take a look and understand while they do.
Bans make sense.
Yeah,
that's what we expected.
The Mirage pick from Renegades is exactly what you'd expect, and the Nuke pick from ENCE is also what you'd expect.
Here's the thing, though, Sean. I'm going to say this. That Nuke pick, to me, actually suggests that ENCE is respecting Renegades. Because if they wanted to just go with their strength, you go with Train. It's available right now.
They have been picking Nuke, though, in prior series, and from what I saw when Renegades played Nuke earlier in this event, it was terrible.
Oh, it was so bad.
It was so bad.
Yes.
They allowed FaZe to get down
clearly.
the vents every round without any information. JKS struggled at ramp in that game as well.
Dust 2 would be a sexy one right here, boys.
So it's Mirage is picked already.
Because they really want to... listen, they both like Train as well, but the choice is the Renegades. If I'm Renegades, I'm definitely taking Dust 2 at this point in time. It's been a weak enough map for the guys from ENCE.
Yeah, I would really like to see Renegades go towards
And it's a ballsy pick. You said, listen, we can out-frag you as well.
I know that Kassad is confident with Renegade's Train.
There we go.
Okay, there's the respect. So Dust 2 is as the 3rd. Look, if we go all the way, you favor Renegades on Mirage, right? You think the Renegades are going to get blown out of the water on Nuke, but then Dust 2 is where it starts to look like a 50-50.
That's a coin flip.
It does. Yeah. It's a total coin flip. And we've seen Renegades play against NRG, who is a very strong Dust 2 team in this tournament. They should have won that game.
16-14, they lost, what was it, 3 or 4
so
rounds to
many eco
Deagles.
rounds, yeah.
That's another thing they have to clean up, right? When they do win these pistols, they have to be converting the second as well, because ENCE are going to take everything. They're going to take any inch. They have all these setups. They have all this preparation. Renegades have looked very flustered in the dicey scenarios, right? If they lose a player early, they start to get flustered. They all stop. They stand still. No one takes initiative.
To rot.
And then they run in on the last 30 seconds. And they just get multi-kill. We saw that happen on Vertigo. Sanji with this EZ. We're getting destroyed.
Take a look at the amount of Mirage we've seen from ENCE. I imagine that's not painting the most fair picture.
No, Duncan doesn't like seeing that. He's a man that likes seeing a lot of maps played, and that's I
think that actually makes it a good pick to take right there.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a lot shown themselves.
Yeah.
I know people always say, yeah, but in scrims, we were working on it. Like scrims are so different from an official game. Like the comfort you have from look how many Renegades have. What, they have 6 or 7 games, almost double the amount. So I'm going to be way more comfortable against anyone.
I mean, ENCE looked super comfortable last major on Mirage, but like you said, in these last 3 months, that was a long time ago. And yes, it is the same lineup, but metas change, and you can see right now it's not up there in their map pool.
Well, you've heard what we're saying about this game. Why don't we hear what the players had to say about this quarter-final? ENCE versus Renegades. Let's hear from ENCE first.
I'm actually so proud of the guys because When we played the 2 weeks, the practice, I was proud already over there how the practice went because I was so sure that we'll have so much issues and so little time to fix everything. But I was so proud already, and I just hope that they can transfer it from there to this. And the first game, I was a bit nervous, like how it will go. But those guys, they are professional. I just raised my hats for them, and after that I saw the first match, how they coped with it, how they played that, how their mindset was, and communication, everything. I knew that we're gonna do a good run over here. It was a surprise for me how Renegades played, like overall this tournament. And I'm actually happy for them because they have been struggling so much. And I do think that the match, our game, it will be a really tight game. I think they're so hyped now that they're here, and because of going like from 0-2 to the playoffs, that's like huge boost. I know that. So which team will get the most pressure will lose the match. So we have to keep our heads calm and hope that they will fail. I think we'll have to face them in a way that they're a different team that they have been for the past months. We have to keep in mind that they are a very strong team, and if you play against them with the mindset how they have played so far, not in this tournament but before, then most likely you will get the upper hand in that case. So we have to play against them that they are like a real threat, and they are doing so well. There is a reason why they are in playoffs. We have to feel it that in a way we are the underdogs, and then go from there. When I watch the players, and even though I see their emotions and everything, I really don't like register it into my mind. I only watch what he's doing in the game, and that's it. Nothing else like concerns me, because he can be a player who hypes, and he can be like, you know, who doesn't like show emotions, whatever. That's outside of the game for me. I just want to see how he plays, what he does.
A clear understanding from the coach Twister about separating emotion from the mechanics, and so far ENCE have displayed phenomenal prowess in that department. They do clearly look honed in, and some of the stats for them. Alexi B, what a performance he's had so far here in the tournament.
No, especially because on their team, some of the squads they've been going against, ENCE, you used to say, fragging's not really their department. Like, they're tactical, they've got a nice map pool, great team play, great mentality. Well, the guy that you expect to be a big fragger is this guy. And last playoffs, when X7 was stepping up, Sergey was disappearing, despite the fact they went all the way to the finals. So this young 17-year-old guy, Sergey, he's the best player in the team. He needs to be the superstar. And against a team like Renegades, I think if he turns up, it's a little bit too much from the handle.
And you can see this is a different Sergey than we saw previously, like at the last major, right? He's aggressive. He's making plays. When we saw that opening game against Avangard, he was up in the bathrooms on overpass, constantly just disrupting their flow. And that's why they were just able to destroy them.
They really did, and I mean, going up against them, you heard from Twister himself talking about the Renegades and how he acknowledges that they're here for a reason, Chad. Which individuals need to be that reason here on the stage today?
Look, going into this right here, I think it has to just be... Look, I don't know. I'm a little bit lost, Alex. I don't usually get lost for words in these scenarios.
Surely.
Yes, of course, you know, but I think Aaron is the one who needs to step up. Azza, right, the in-game leader, because I know that he has the potential to still be a fragger. He's taken over the in-game leadership role. It's really hampered his stats. It hasn't looked good. And the reason I'm struggling here is because Renegades are the only team who have never made it to the playoffs before. Sorry, they've only made it one time to the playoffs, and they have nobody here who's ever made it to, you know, a major grand final. They've never progressed past this point. They have the least amount of experience on their squad. So this, for them, it's hard to, you know, separate which player or who needs to step up more than anybody else. It just has to be the whole unit.
Treat it like a unit, and we're actually going to focus on them now and hear their statements coming into their quarterfinal.
Our preparation for this major was pretty much exactly the same like for the last one, maybe a little bit shorter because of the player break. For the playoffs, I feel like that we need to spend more time talking than actually practicing, so that will be the main focus in the next 3 days, just talking more and like with that like fixing our mistakes. Being able to go from 0-2 to 3-2 in an event like this, I think it shows that we are a true unit. There is no I. There is not a single individual that is like, you know, kind of stands out. We're just trying to be like as a unit and act as a unit and play as a unit and just be a true team. So we're facing ENCE in the quarterfinals, and I feel like that's the opponent suits us. We always like playing against them, and we have no pressure at all facing them, even though in theory they're the favorites against us. How would I describe each of the ENCE players? Cold-blooded, maybe lack of emotions, but super skilled and very confident. What's going to be the key factor in this game against ENCE? I think it's going to come down to confidence, communication for us, and just making fewer mistakes than them, I guess. So we're kind of looking forward to the game.
Coach of the Renegades, Cassard, letting you know that they are just fingers on a fist, each as integral to the damage as each other. And you can see Azza, in-game leader. We've seen an awful lot of him in the major circuit.
Yeah, and you look at this, right? When back in the day, he was one of the main stars of the team. This man right here, however, I think has become the main star of the team. He has the most experience. He's from Norway. He's one of the boys now, but he is the most consistent factor for Renegades of his entire time in that unit.
And I also think, like, I found it so interesting that both coaches at the end made the pivotal factor who makes less mistakes. They didn't say, like, we have to frag out, we're going to win our map. These teams both understand basically the psychological war I was talking about before. These are squads where they need to get everything out of their players. It's about team play, it's about tactics. So they're not one of these squads like a FaZe, Clan, Na'Vi, where, listen, if the big fraggers come, we can get away with mistakes.
Yeah, it's not like the match later today, right, where the teams aren't really experienced against each other. These teams have met 7 different maps this year, right? And the first 4 went to Renegades, the last 3 have gone to ENCE. And it is always about mistakes when you watch these two teams play.
I'm just looking at, you know, the games you're referencing. I'm looking at the score lines, and it is 16-14, 16-12, 16-14, 16-13. These teams have been inseparable all year.
And I'll even throw in a little wrinkle. Listen, it looked favoured to ENCE when you saw the results there, but you have to remember, the Renegades guys were playing that summer run of tournaments without proper boot camp time. Obviously, Grassfaction had his whole visa situation. Like, that wasn't necessarily peak form Renegades, whereas that was actually when ENCE was still in great form.
Sounds like I'm converting them a little bit.
It does
here,
sound
Alex,
like
no, I'm not buying it.
Not picking up.
Get out of here.
Look, you know, I was talking about that conversion rate, right? We've got the GGBet odds on the screen right now. They obviously favour ENCE quite clearly. They don't look at Renegades like they have a shot in this at all. And I look, experience-wise, you back ENCE in for sure. But matchup-wise, if we played this not in this arena and off room, this is a matchup that is 60-40.
Those numbers are not correct.
Very
the 89-11, there's no way that ENCE wins 89%
Chad,
of the time.
it's that nuke game because everyone feels like that's going ENCE's way. So as a result, it's not like it's impossible for ENCE to win on Mirage. That's the big determinant one. I'm with you. If it goes to Dust 2, flip a coin, let's see who wins on that one. But I think the big Mirage game is the one that's going to decide Renegade's fate.
Oh, and that's the one we start with. We're not starting just yet. Players making their final preparations, and so are the fans as I hear a chant begin. Why don't we go ahead and see if we can get a microphone in one of those fans' faces?
That's exactly what we are about to do, Alex. Berlin, what's going on? Now, Chad, you put a tweet out, mate, and you were saying you wanted some Renegades fans. I found a fair few of them, but they're quite outnumbered by ENCE. We got Jaden down here. Jaden, you got a story for me. You've travelled. You are an Australian here. You've made the journey for your boys. What's going on? Talk to me.
Well, it seems to be that Finland immigrated their entire country here, but it doesn't matter because no matter what, the Australian boys, and regardless of what Spongy says, Australia's going to win this one. And Jacob, by the way, regardless, you're always going to be welcome because Australia is the place to be. Go the Renegades!
We got some real the boys moments coming over here. But Tonya, what do the ENCE fans have to say about that? Because they may have the numbers, but they sound a bit weak to me.
Yeah, we have the numbers. Thank you very much, James. I'm here with true ENCE fans. Am I right, guys? Can you believe that, guys? With true CSGO fans. I think we should do this louder, louder, louder. You see the Finnish flag. These guys is crazy. The crowd here is incredible. I really hope you guys feel the energy. James, what can you say about that?
Well, I can sit there, and there we go. I can sit there and say the ENCE chant is the most boring chant going. ENCE, ENCE. Come on, we need something better. I think the boys have got the really way for it to go, but there we go. Renegades, make some noise if you want them to win, because we're going back over to the desk.
Absolutely brilliant. Yes, there's plenty of fans. Certainly, ENCE have the majority, and it seems they have the majority of the expectations of our analyst desk. But you've certainly started the conversion process, Chad, for some people here in the arena and watching
It'll take
at home.
time.
Yeah, absolutely. Mirage, though, the point we made prior to hearing from the fans was that you think it really does hinge on that first map, Duncan. Do you want to explain your working there?
Listen, it's a map where I know historically you saw when they pulled out the record, they haven't played that much in the last few months. But again, as Sean said, you go back to the last major, they were beating Team Liquid on that map, which is a fantastic Mirage map team. So for me, again, they've got the tactics. In this particular matchup, they probably have a slight edge in terms of fragging, in terms of who you think is going to be the star player. Someone like Sergey, Alu takes over the game. So I think that's why I like the fact that both opponents acknowledge like we got the right person to play, basically. Like this is the right matchup. It's not one-sided one way or another. No one's willing to say like we're going to smash them in this one area. So for me, I think this is going to be a pretty close. This is a 60-40 probably for Renegades.
Oh, that's your POV. Of course, speaking of, if you want to go ahead and watch every single player's POV, you can do so by subscribing to this channel. Gives you access to the StarLadder Major Command Center, and you can check all the POVs, advanced stats, the minimap, and even customize your HUD. So that's available if you subscribe to the channel, the StarLadder Major Command Center for this one.
It's a good place to be. I think another good place to be is probably on the ENCE side of things, because gun round wise, you look at these teams toe to toe. Renegades, they're struggling against the anti-eco. So ENCE are going to have them covered when we have the guns. This is why for Renegades, I'm saying if they win the pistol, they have to convert. If they force buy, they have to convert. They can't be starting games, Alex, down several rounds. They need to make sure they get off there in a competitive way.
Keep it level, keep the equilibrium, keep it running.
I couldn't agree more. Renegades is a game plan team, right? And if their early rounds crumble, I would see their whole half crumbling, right? They like to set up early mid defaults so that way it opens up the later bomb site hits.
I just can't wait to see more from Alu. He's been a bit of a badass. He's had a fire lit beneath him, and he's come in swinging, especially in that series versus Vitality. Now upgrading the stage. We'll see if he can upgrade his game. Player to watch for me for sure. But one for ENCE, one for Renegades. Have you locked in your final answer yet, Duncan?
I'm going to say ENCE takes this series. Listen, I'll give Renegades the potential to win this map. It could be a great series. Let's get the dust too. Let's have some fun. But I do think like the quality is on the side of the ENCE guys. Renegades, listen, this may as well be Chad's funeral because they're going to let him down one last time.
Is there an
You're looking sharp for your funeral, to be fair.
Yeah, look, I dressed up for the occasion.
Right,
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. ENCE versus Renegades. It's over to your casters. Let's jump in to the first game of the top 8.
Thank you very much, Alex. This is going to be incredible. What beautiful energy in the arena, James. Fans from both sides have made all the journeys. We saw people even from Singapore. But here we go. We are off on Mirage. Renegades on that T side. And ENCE will be defending. ENCE going for a 2-1-2 split with their players. And it's going to be a nasty surprise for Sergey, James.
It is indeed. But pistols being what they are, just got to find the headshots. Got the grenades streaming into the site now. Going to be forced from their position. The flashbangs are up and Sergey is down. Area with a lot to do. He's going to get headshot at range, so low already. The box has been dropped for the time being. The flash is in there. Ariel's still doing work. Outstayed his welcome, perhaps. CT is in control of the CTs for the most part. Jacob, though, looking to make a play. There's no flash for him. He pops out. That's one. Can he find the other one? No, not quite. LXCP holding position X7 now with a crossfire with his teammate. Renegades moving back towards the ramp and sandwich. There's a smoke up on the ramp now. Nice one from JKS. Moving behind the smoke. 1v1. LXCP with smoke and a defuse kit. The bomb's not planted for JKS. He realizes that. He's staying close. Does he see LXCP? There goes the smoke, but can LXC cross? He's waiting for the smoke to go. JKS realizes what could be happening at the moment. There he is. Going to the smoke now. Does he hold the defuse? Does a knife come out for JKS? Moving closer. Non-believer realizes what might be up. Very easy for him. And there is a pistol round for Renegades.
Fantastic stuff there for the Renegades. Great execution on the pistol. Box standard stuff, but I think, you know, we saw Sean, he set it up pretty well. Gave us the expectation. If we want to see this upset, if we want to see Renegades having a really strong matchup, we want to see them taking control early on that T side, getting to kind of play the pace that they want to, as opposed to having ENCE dictating it to them. And of course, ENCE, they have some decisions to make here. They may, of course, some teams would go for a force buy in this situation, but ENCE are actually going to opt for pretty much a full save. We've got a P250, but that's about it. And looking to go for a mid push, hence everybody charging up. Jacob's going to have some fun here with this Mach 10. There you go, spray down, and he's got some company to finish it all off. Nice and easy there for round 2, but we are going to be back into the action quite quickly as ENCE will be ready for the bye.
Renegades with a really solid start. No one dying in that round is really awesome for them. Gives them some bonus money should they need it in the early stage. Now this chap on the screen, walking onto the stage, he looked like he was ready to murder his opponents. And now he has a chance to show us what he's able to do. No AWP just yet, no full buy. We've got X7 on the UMP. ENCE prioritizing the grenades. The utility will lead him to victory, in their eyes at least. Ali with a timing HE up top. Won't spot Jacob making his way up the short position. Jacob to the bomb. Oh, he takes a bullet for the team, Sergey. He takes a bullet, and that allows the bomb to be defused. X7 with the UMP. X7 was by jungle while the rest of his team were towards CT for a while with that UMP, which is kind of awkward for him. Maybe he would have switched for an M4 with while a Mach 10 was trying to find the right angle. But again, that Mach 10 spray is going to be all over the place, so that one doesn't quite work out for Renegades. An early victory for ENCE.
Yeah, it could turn on his head though if Renegades are able to pick this round up. Alu goes quick into mid though. Will be smoked to deter him. Might take a timing shot. Actually falls back, not wanting to give away the presence. Look at the speed here from this push. Oh my god! JKS annihilating X7 and Sergey in the Palace position, whilst Renegades very aggressively and quickly take over the middle position. They have an insanely strong position on the map now and all the time in the world to work with. Desperately to get the information and getting punished time and again. Well played from Azza. We're seeing pretty much everybody on Renegades looking awake right out of the gate in this one. It's always been fun watching how consistent Jacob has been on the team. He's been a standout performer time and again. And I cannot wait to see what Liaz can offer as well. For those of you watching the New Legends stage, Liaz really showed us his level with some insane clutches.
Yeah, we saw some peak performance from Liaz recently, and that was fantastic to see. And you could see what it meant to him as well if you look at what he was tweeting after the matches on Vertigo versus some teams earlier on in this tournament. They did it the hard way, as Sponge said, the reverse sweep for Renegades. The anti-ecos are going well for them at the moment, and that's always, well, it's often been, for the longest time, one of the sticking points for the Renegade squad, either slowing them down or stopping them, is anti-eco round. But we've seen a change in them in this tournament. We've seen them be decisive, we've seen them be swift and brutal and merciless, and it's led them to this point where who knows how far they can go. They come into this as an underdog, but again, we've seen so many amazing plays from them. For those of you on GoTV, I think when Renegades moved to the CT side, both Jacob and JKS Double J's, they were so key on previous wins for Mirage. Their individual clutches were very numerous. But here we go, an aggressive play from ENCE towards the top mid position. No AWP this time, trying to fight for control, but Molotovs and flashes are going to be a problem. They're going to get flanked as well on the high ground from Jacob, and here we go, he's activated already. 3 versus 3 with a minute 35 on the clock. Renegades still have control of the bomb.
And once again, we have possession as well. Look at Jake.
Through the window, but getting taken out. The CTs have got angles all over the place, and maybe there'll be no survivors, no frags whatsoever for Renegades. This has not gone the way we wanted. Alu with 2 frags at the end there. Renegades maybe trying to punish the shortcomings or exploit ENCE when they might not have a full buy just yet, but they didn't get a single frag. That's a perfect round for ENCE.
Yeah, you can see Renegades were really trying to put ENCE in weird positions with very fast timings, but this is what happens sometimes. You know, you might not make the correct guess and it just blows up in your face. And now again, you know, Renegades are in this position still where ENCE have not stabilized, but that was the perfect round for ENCE to get some money in the bank and begin that process of stabilizing. And Renegades will swiftly lose their advantage if they're not careful. They have to make this round count. So previously we saw kind of a shock and awe play. I would expect to see things calm down now, James. I think Renegades will begin to see more normal T-side and Mirage with those defaults in mid.
Yeah, and I think that's an example of needing to sometimes sacrifice your primary weapon for grenades to control area when you've got issues like that. You need to have that counter molly when you hear the rush coming. You need to have that HE through the window while Renegades are bundled up in those tight choke points. But now they have a slightly better buy. No MP9 on this occasion. 2 AK-47s, and Alu is still here with the AWP. We'll have to keep an eye to see if he throws a Molotov into the window to ruin the smoke, which is consistently being thrown by Renegades. Flashbang over the top from Alu as Ariel moves into position. Alu can watch short while Ariel has a look below. It's a strong flashbang from top mid behind the barrels. Pretty solid job.
Ooh.
And the Renegades already have a player in the window now. This is something I think Jason was mentioning, that Renegades consistently boost in the window.
Oh my god.
And we've got the biggest flank. A minute 20 and Azza's in the market.
They have absolutely no idea, James. You almost never see a timing like this, never. And Azza's made his way all the way to the back of the B-bomb site, and they can take their time right now. They'll never suspect him in this position. There's a 3-1, but does he realize, do they understand there's one more player around the catwalk position? Alexi B is going to be holding that down, and the rest of the Renegades team will be moving through the B apartments into that B-bomb site. Talk about outmaneuvering your opposition.
Yeah, Renegades have offered a lot of grenades into that mid position, the usual Molotov interconnector and so on, showing presence in mid, and you can see they've drawn ENCE in that direction. But now the execute comes in towards the A-bomb site, and it's retake territory for ENCE. Maybe they boost between these two smokes, look out for that. Jacob's making his way towards bench in the meantime. There's always a few gaps in the corners. Got Alexi B looking over. There won't be a boost just yet, but people know their sprays. Now there are issues for Renegades. They haven't managed to plant this bomb. These smokes are going to go, and their job's going to get a lot harder for them. Oh, what am I talking about? The bomb has been planted, excuse me. Jacob's been exploded. The retake is on for ENCE. They've got a lot of utility, but look at the rotation from Azza. The bomb's been planted in a place where he can defend it, but Alexi B is looking for this. He's moving up top mid, and he spotted him, and he swatted him.
Yeah, this is really bad right now because their Renegades' backs are against the wall here. They didn't have any forward positioning. Great shot from Gratisfaction. Liaz as well coming in from Sandwich. Creates the space for Renegades to slam dunk this round. Again, they were in a lot of trouble there. They had no positions to fall back to. And ENCE had all the retake utility. That's the one downside when you go for those really fast A takes on the T side. Sure, you can get the bomb down and you can get the bomb side, but getting forward positioning, very difficult. And then the retake utility usually means the CTs will have a huge advantage coming back into that bomb side. But Renegades, James, we're seeing them step up individually right now, and it's remarkable.
Telling you, man, people's pick'ems, one way or another, are going to get bodied. It is really hard to make a solid call on a lot of the matches in this bracket. I didn't even notice the bomb had been planted. I thought he was trying to avoid getting shot, but he got it down just in time. That would have been a problem otherwise. So we've got a tactical timeout from ENCE. They are 3 rounds behind at the moment. Now, very importantly, ENCE, for Renegades, that is, and from ENCE, we've got JKS in the palace. I don't know if he will hear these footsteps. So ENCE were fishing for something early, but didn't get much of anything.
Yeah, and these rounds, you know, sometimes you almost take them for granted, but ENCE, you know, they're trying to gamble. And Renegades, do they have in this routine of theirs a way to get the information? Because that's really the issue. You don't want to commit to a bomb site until you absolutely know that it's going to be somewhat safe or the safer site. As sometimes, you know, you can have these deadly stacks. A bunch of Deagles at 5-7, the UMP, there's a lot of firepower there. And they are playing a lot of different corners altogether. So, of course, if Renegades were to go anywhere near the B-bomb site, there'd be problems. But ENCE don't also really have any way to deny the A site. So we can see that Renegades are taking this cautiously, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and they look like they're going to be good here, going to that A site now. And they've evaded the stack. The bomb's going to go down. And that's it. That the round should be over. But ENCE actually could try to play some aggressive exits here.
I like the boost over the bottom connector smoke, which you don't often see. Well, Gratisfaction must deliver. Misses that shot. The Molotov is really important for area control. Alexi B falls, trying to pick up a rifle. Maybe. And now Ali with the AK. They did some damage, ENCE. Maybe it'll pay off. But Renegades, they've got to be targeting 10 rounds in the short term now. I think it's always good to have the short-term goals, the long-term goals. Get to 7. All right, boys, let's get to 10. Let's focus on that.
Well, one thing that Sean was saying on the desk is that Renegades have a very drilled set of, you know, their game plan is very drilled, and if that goes well for them, they set themselves up for the middle area of the half, and I think that's the period we're in now. ENCE can't really go as hard in mid because Renegades threaten these super fast plays towards the bomb sites. So we're going to see lighter defense on mid, like this round, for example. Alu does get himself out there, though, but he doesn't really have much support. Just Alexi B from Catwalk, and Jacob's going to spot this play around the smoke, so indeed, Renegades will have an easier time in the middle. Yeah,
he must have heard Alu's scope there, and once he's heard that, then Alu's done for, absolutely done for. And in that situation, you have to wonder if that's just a call they've made, because that is a very precarious situation for ENCE. And to lose your sniper like that, I think it's very unlike Alu to just be outside of smoke in the middle of mid, scoping in and out. This has really handicapped ENCE in a position where it's not a good start for them anyway. Sergey trying to survive. You won't get a flash or anything in time, but Alexi's putting in work as well from that short position. Looking to spray Liaz, who's got a lot of cover from that box. 2 CTs here. Now, see Aerial is towards the ramp. Beautiful transfer from Azza. He's been a constant problem around this window. And he may have saved this round for his team. You can see Liaz rotating away. Aerial creeping forward, but once again, Azza's in a very strong position.
Yeah, and that really cuts off so much in the way of rotation for Aerial, and that means that Aerial can pretty much only be coming from one spot. Obviously, he could go into the B apartments, but Catwalk's probably more likely just because it's quicker to get there. However, there's that Molotov. Will there be any smokes? There's no smokes here for the T side. And there's some information now. So we get that rotation coming in from Azza. And all he has to do is delay. He needs his teammate to guarantee this. If he can guarantee a trade, this is impossible for Aerial. And that's what it is all about. As Aerial pushes forward, he spots one. He's trying to create those 1v1s, but Renegades are denying him so far. And he's taking so much damage on the way to these frags. Oh, he made it close somehow. Liaz will take him out, though, and Renegades will secure the round. Another one for them, James. And it seems like ENCE are kind of struggling to understand what the answer is.
I really feel like maybe ENCE are nervous coming into this series, just the way the beginning of that round played out. Such a brittle situation for your sniper, who's so important for your team, to lose him in such a fashion immediately when you're already 4 rounds down in the first half. And once again, ENCE find themselves on pistols, on eco. The jump smoke for the window is out, and once again, it's 5-7s, Desert Eagle. CZ-75's for ENCE. We've got some Kevlar picks up here and there. But there's not much really for them to offer. They've got maximum loss bonus, so they can spend those bits and bobs. We've got a 2-man push in Palace. We'll see if that makes a difference. But Renegade seem to be going towards B on this occasion.
Yeah, they've been so good at their mid control, like setting themselves up in mid and then playing forward positions from that and then understanding what the best options are. It's very difficult for ENCE. Alexi B or somebody needs to step up individually, and that's a nice catch from Alexi B. There's one down. The gun is not all that recoverable, and he knows it. Gonna have to make this work for the CZ. Forced out by the Molotov. Oh my goodness, there's no punish. Picking up the weapon, that could have been dangerous, but JKS shuts it down as Sergey shuts down Gratisfaction, and he has the bomb.
Oh dear, looks like we might be heading back towards vintage Renegades in terms of anti-ecos, but maybe they can turn it around. Azza again in that window, holding down so much area. X7 just waiting. Almost a double pick there with Aerial, but now he's got the CZ, and there are going to be too many man. Renegades didn't check the ladder room at all. They had a pop flash for short, but seemed to forget about the ladder. I don't know if they only had one flash or something, but these are fairly standard things. And with the speed at which they've taken ladder room in previous rounds, that is an issue which isn't going to cost them too much on this occasion. Again, we are in the late game in this first half now, and it is 9-3 in favor of Renegades, who take a timeout.
One thing that's been interesting as well is that, so many of these T rounds, this game plan of Renegades has been very fast. They'll take middle, and then they'll push players in position, and then they're doing something. They're constantly doing something, and we have a lot of these rushes as well. Fast set pieces on the A bomb site. They're really keeping that pace up high, and it feels like for ENCE, there's just no breathing room in terms of what they can do on the map, and they want to challenge the middle because they don't want to just let Renegades have it. And so, but they've been doing it in a way in which they've been under-equipped also. So there's just problems everywhere so far for ENCE, and this is the change that we're going to see now. This is how they have to get things back under control. The double ops come out, James.
Double AWPs. Now, Renegades have been very unpredictable in this T side so far, and we see a change of pace from them. Not many grenades towards that mid position. We can see that smoke from ENCE. This time, they won't take risk behind it, but it will delay the Renegade somewhat.
It's actually a bait, I think. I think they're trying to convince Renegades that they're playing into mid, and that A is really weak, and they have a timing to go into A, and it's all a setup. But so far, Renegades are not biting the bait, James.
Renegades waiting around that A-bomb site, still passive elsewhere. Jacob top mid, Liaz towards B. Jacob and Liaz, well, almost everybody with absolutely full grenades for Renegades at the moment, so they could show presence wherever they choose to. Hold the timing, that is absurd. I cannot believe he just did that. We'll talk about that one later, but that is a brazen play. JKS sees some legs. Sergey playing Super Mario Brothers now, and he may fall to the flames here, or JKS. 6 bullets left, and he will fall back. A peek like that from Palace is absolutely ridiculous. You're exposed to the entire site. You're not supposed to be able to do that.
That is daylight robbery. The fact that he gets away with that is just unbelievable.
And it's Alu they've taken out again as well.
Yeah, that's true.
That you do not see that. That's amazing from Renegades.
And the change of pace here as well. There was some steps there, I think. I'm not sure if that would have been heard by X7. I think it must have been. They're going to make the play into the bomb site. The rotation's not quite there just yet. The timing on the flashbang could not be more perfect. And ENCE are locked out well and truly. I have to say, I don't know that I've seen Renegades play this well, in such a clinical fashion as they are, that everybody's performing out of their mind. Smoking that Astralis popularized on middle, and they had the Molotov there as well to really slow down any mid plays. And what that makes it seem like is that you are just running at least 3 guys up mid as the CT side. So that's what you're representing. And so usually the response for the T side, if they have, if everybody's towards the A side of the map, or if you have at least a couple players there, is to go to push into the site, because you know there should only be one person defending that bomb site at that timing. So ENCE created this trap, but Renegades they just waited it out. They just waited forever, and that's, I think, the slowest round that they've played so far. So again, they are so hard to read. I don't know what you're supposed to do in ENCE's shoes right there, if that's the play you make, and then just nothing happens. Very strange stuff.
Okay, Alu's back on the AWP, looking for something. But once again, at least at the start of this round, is pretty much a mirror from Renegades in terms of where they're positioned. Liaz looking for some shenanigans, and he may find some if he goes deep enough. Aerial is waiting. It can be tiresome to just stare at an angle for a long period of time. 1 minute 25 on the clock. Again, we've got 3 players, including the bomb towards A. Gratisfaction, passive towards Palace, currently smoked off. Azza and JKS just holding angles, just waiting. Azza's playing anti-flash, staring into the corner, just in case ENCE get hungry for something. ENCE playing a completely reactive game. Grenades coming in towards the A-bomb site. LXEB taken out by Gratisfaction with a dirty peek, and Aerial will be punished as well. Nothing is going the way of ENCE in this half.
Yeah, for sure, they're losing. So many 1v1s, and I mean, credit to Renegades, they themselves are being so clean with these duels. It's a bit difficult to take them down, and look at that, Lias waiting for the peak. Whiff from Alu, you can't be whiffing those. That was maybe one of the very few opportunities Alu was going to get in a round like this to do some damage. Obviously, any damage will only be for just stats at this point, considering that the economy for Renegades is fantastic, and we'll be moving into the final round of the first half. And we may see a 12-3 first half from Renegades. Here comes Azza on the hunt, picks off one, and there's just one left. They know exactly where he is. And again, there's huge value for taking him down. They can sacrifice every player trying to take down Sergey, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Azza's getting himself a highlight reel of multi-frag rounds in one half. But it's great to see that Liaz is leading the charge in terms of frags on the scoreboard. Again, it's been a great tournament for him. When they've started winning. Oh boy.
Goodbye, Orp.
Renegades looking damn dangerous at the moment. And again, on the CT side, JKS and Jacob have been so important for Renegades, and with peaks like that, it doesn't bode well for ENCE when a side swap at all.
Yeah, that's such a big deal, because that was the AWP. They can't play the WAWPs now, and again, it feels like ENCE have been playing with less than what they've wanted for the entire half. Their money's never really been that good. And this is another one of those rounds. Alu out of the window, he'll go, trying to evade all the utility, but he might have boxed himself in towards underpass. JKS waits for the push. We get Trace in middle as JKS goes to the peak. He gets the info, and he's going to take down Sergey. 3 left for ENCE. Well, XCB makes the load a little bit easier to deal with, but there's still a lot of problems because it's a 3v3 and there's a minute and a half. That's beautiful for Renegades. And that's even better for ENCE.
ENCE really, really need this round desperately. X7 moving through the underpass. There's no sound cues, but he's maybe about to get one. You can see JKS has got a grenade in his hand. He's also got the bomb. Hello, and goodbye. Beautiful second frag for X7. Much needed 4th round for ENCE.
Wow, I am so very impressed. I cannot say it enough, but can Renegades keep it up and close things on the second half? We'll find out after this break.
Renegades absolutely dismantled ENCE in the first half, and now they move to the CT side. Again, we've seen JKS and Jacob make stars of themselves on the CT side of Mirage so far in this tournament, and maybe they can do the same again. ENCE have a lot to prove here, especially some of the, one of the outgoing players on their team. So maybe it has to be done the hard way. Maybe you have to start with 4 rounds on the T side. But the pistol will invite some variance, and we won't see any P250s from ENCE, it seems. Sergey will be a grenade man, everybody else with Kevlar.
Yeah, I think that's it's a really good point. It's a very, very different half, and already Renegades actually looking like they're going to take the initiative here. This could work out really well. Sergey's going to get taken down, but they may read this as Sergey faking the A bomb site, and that's a problem, because here comes the push into the B bomb site, and there goes the rotation, but the bomb's going to be alone on the A site, and so X7's going to, well, I mean, if you just win the round here, that's great. Looks like Az has got a lot of work on his hands, but he's been delivering so far. He's going to pick off one, and now they're going to realize
it's a trap! Matchmaking strats at the major. Can you believe it?
When are they going to realize, though, James?
There's too much action, there's too much fire. Just keep spamming the Glocks, they won't hear it. Jacob, surely there's no realization just yet. They've been sold a dummy, they've been sold a fake. It's a cheap knockoff. The bomb's on the A bomb site. The pistol is with ENCE. And you could see, that's a great way to start the half. Just a hilarious round. You get the info on the ramp that a few players are pushing. The bomb is stuck. You saw the fake towards B. Marvelous way to start, especially when you've got 6 more rounds to recover.
Yeah, that's so funny. Renegade's push made it worse for them. It's crazy, but it feels good, you know, that ENCE, at least something goes their way. And right at the start of the T side, no less. And they may actually give Renegades a bit of their own medicine here. We've got what could be a fast play into this A bomb side, but JKS is going to take down Aerial. That is not good. Flashbang comes in, the bomb's down, and there's problems now for ENCE. He smokes the bomb. This is really, really bad for ENCE right now. So he's going to do what he can, but JKS has stolen himself an AK-47, and he still has full HP. He's got a flashbang as well. This could not be worse for ENCE.
And Renegades have taken their biggest weakness and made it one of their strongest strengths at the moment. After the first frag, JKS has support flashbangs from his teammates as well. That is absolutely brutal. ENCE have been burglarized on a ramp. All their precious valuables have been taken. They've got a minute to play with, but with only 3 players, they're going to be really handicapped. Terrified of a flank, X7 looks behind him as he moonwalks to join his teammates. And look at all the spam. Alu somehow manages to rescue the bomb. But what is the nature, what is the climate around the map? You've got to be nervous about every single corner. This might work out. Sergey going wide with the MP5. Don't want to go too crazy. More flashbangs coming, and the trades will continue. Ali's got some sound cues, though, because he's in Palace. And he may think that he's gone elsewhere. Does one of the players go towards B, or do they both stick together? He might have the sound cues for both of them, actually. He's got a fully charged AK. He's ready to go. Quietly down he goes. Now, with 20 seconds, does he go for both players? No, he's going to try and secure the bomb plant. But does he realize that they're both on the ramp? The shadow. No, he didn't see the shadow in time.